Hey guys, and welcome to another brand new video. In this video, we actually have some pretty turbulent news going on right now when it comes to the PlayStation 5. Sony is actually making some pretty crazy decisions over here where they're taking down game servers and as well as once again re-sparking up that game preservation debate and people being concerned about the longevity of games, longevity of online games, and of course, well, being heartbroken that some of their favorite game series are now done and taken offline. So we're gonna go talk about this drama and a few other little bits and pieces of gaming news. So if you guys will sit back, relax, and enjoy the start of your weekends. Make sure you guys are subscribed with the notifications on. We have the Twitter and Twitch room down below if you guys want to follow, and of course, give me your thoughts and comments on everything down below. Now, as you guys may have remembered throughout this week, there was a really big instance of brand new stories coming from The Crew, which is an Ubisoft game, and that game itself was it was fun, mostly online. So like the game itself went offline. Like basically Ubisoft was done with it. There still was a second crew. They may be making another one, but the whole entire game is gone. So that means that anyone who bought the game and purchased the game is currently out of water. Their licenses got revoked and the game is gone, and it kind of makes sense. It was a pure online game, so without the online, what was kind of the point? Although, in theory, any good game company could have maybe tried to transition things into like a single-player experience and go from there if they cared about their audience. And that was kind of a big deal. Like, a lot of folks were kind of concerned about this and had issues with this, where Ubisoft was stripping their licenses for The Crew. The game was gone. People couldn't do any fan servers, basically kind of reminding folks that digital ownership is basically, like, stupid. Like, you don't technically own the game, so there's kind of no, like, it's just sad. Like, game preservation, that's people like the idea of physical games. Granted, the game itself is quite old. I'm sure Ubisoft wasn't making money off the game, and I'm sure barely anyone was playing the game itself. But it's kind of more of sometimes the principles, so I understand the business behind some of these ideas, but at the same time, if you're a pretty big multi-billion-dollar company, you sometimes just want to maintain it for a little bit longer, or have a chance to do some cool stuff like fan servers. I understand trademarks and IPs, whatever, or at the same time, be able to go and transition it to a single-player experience. Because now at any point, basically, someone just rented a game for like 7 years, and now it's all gone. And a lot of people were kind of sad about this because the game itself came back in 2014, and it was a cool game. It was a fun game. They made secondary games as well, so it's not the end of the world. But one thing to kind of go note is as of today, Sony is now a part of the same cycle, where as of right now, they are decommissioning servers for LittleBigPlanet 3. Now, once again, some of these games are slightly older. Once again, I'm sure the active day-to-day player base is quite small, but one of the bigger issues over here is I do believe most of their content is now, I believe, not shareable. And that was kind of always the big idea for LittleBigPlanet. If you guys remember LittleBigPlanet 2, I feel like I should go and show you guys a quick little YouTube video of it. Basically, LittleBigPlanet was like you had a chance to go and let people go and check out their, like, the servers and maps you went and make in the first place. And then it's just fun, like just a fun little game, like kind of like a Super Mario Maker or whatever it might be. Now, they do also have their own, like, single-player stuff over here. Shout out to E. But basically, this was the game in case you guys are curious. So people were able to go make their own custom maps, upload them, and kind of a community feel to make the game have a very good longevity vibe. And of course, there is a single-player aspect of it, which as of right now, PlayStation is keeping up. So that is at least one perk. At least compared to The Crew, the Crew is completely gone. At least LittleBigPlanet, you can still play the single-player experience, and I believe any type of content you already have downloaded should be all fun. But the one issue is, as of right now, people are upset. People's childhoods are doing stuff with their kids, or just the overall vibe of the game itself was like a fun game. It's a creative game. And as of right this second, all the creativity of making maps, enjoying maps, and anything you've had a chance to download so far is now fully gone. I'm trying to just give you guys a little bit more of like little bits and pieces of the gameplay, but like it's like a fun game. It's a PlayStation staple. They've sold plushies. They've worked with this, and at the end of the day, I'd actually would like to have a brand new iteration of this, mainly because they tried to do that with Dreams, and that was a cool game experience too as well. Don't get me wrong, but it wasn't exactly the same. But this is like just a fun gaming platformer experience that people are able to go mess around with, do multiplayer with, and if you guys have been long-term PlayStation fans, probably would also agree. But right now, it does seem like Sony is now taking it gone. So they are decommissioning the servers for the PS4, PS3, PS Vita, and PSP owners in regards to online features of certain games. Now, once again, these are older games. Once again, I'm sure the player base and active people using these games are very small. So I can understand why. They're trying to save money, trying to, like, let's say you have a huge list of 500 games. If you can knock out 50 of them from 2013, just to make the future a little bit better, a little bit of, like, spring cleaning, I understand it. But basically, they also did have a lot of technical issues which did result in LittleBigPlanet 3 servers for them being taken off temporarily a few months back. But they basically are just like, hey, like, there is issues, there is bugs, there's probably maybe 100 people that are even run this at this point. Like, we don't need it anymore. Like, let's just take it off. Let's take it offline. But once again, this kind of does lead to issues of people not owning their online content, licensable content, and everything else, where people are concerned about, like, the future of their games. Now, I do think most companies so far have been doing it in an all right manner. You know, it's 10 years old. People aren't really utilizing it, et cetera, et cetera. Like, I get it. But at the same time, it is sad, just sad to go and see. So as of right now, online services, including access to other players' creations for LittleBigPlanet 3, are no longer available. They are gone. You cannot do anything with it. User-generated content stored locally, though, so if you had a chance to utilize it and download it before they took off their servers, it's all fine. And then any new UGC you can create can be played on my PS4 too as well. So let's say you just like the idea of testing games. You do it with your kids. You have your kids build a map. You check it out. You have friends come over. Although I'm not sure this is like a day-to-day activity for most folks. The game is slightly older. It's just the idea of it is a little bit more intriguing to go and see. You can still play it. But apparently all the offline features such as the campaign will also be available, which is better than the crew regardless. That's a win. So basically, you can still go check out the game if you guys want to. Say, pick it up at like a GameStop, a used store, or whatever it might be. You can still rock it on out, which I think is cool. But yeah, it's kind of just sad because it's just all around offline. It's just donezo at this point. I do believe this also has another different things too as well, which is like the PlayLink games too on top of this. So in case you guys are curious on this too, there's also a little bit more of a bigger update for all of this too as well. Like some of these are older games, such as like the multiplayer games for Guns Up or MLB The Show back in the day too as well, which is intriguing. This was like a while ago, but basically had this, you know, back in 2024, earlier in this year, at MLB The Show, the older versions as well on the PS4. Basically, online features will no longer be available to as well. So like I mean, at a certain time, you have to like just, you know, cut the fat. You just got to get rid of the games. You got to, like, you can't always have servers for games that 3 people are playing. And especially when there's new iterations or things in the works or better options. Like MLB The Show is a good example. Like these are many, many months old. And at least in comparison to like FIFA games, they're not as popular. So it makes sense on how like some of these games are going away. Makes sense. Like Gran Turismo Sport, this is way, way older. A lot of PS4 games. And at a certain point, like they also want people on PS5. Like, if you have some guy who's playing Gran Turismo still in their old gen, they want you to go pop on the new gen. Microtransactions, better maps, you know, actually keeping the player base alive, but incentivize more people to buy the game, get a PlayStation 5. Like, it makes sense. But it's still really sad to go and see that some of these servers are now getting taken offline. Let me know your thoughts and comments down below. Now, I also have a few little kind of quick stories as well to wind down the video, where Arrowhead says that Sony doesn't force anything in the Helldivers 2 development, which has been fun. I think a lot of people have really been enjoying Helldivers still. And I'm still waiting for the brand new race to come out. Like, if you guys have been playing Helldivers, there's basically like 2 right now, with the Terminoids and the Androids, pretty much, the Automatrons. So at this point, like, I'm waiting for the 3rd brand new, like, character reach, because I think there's supposed to be, like, another Android hybrid or whatever coming out in the near future. So I kind of like the idea that Sony isn't, like, trying super hard to min-max the game. Sometimes if you're a game company, you try to min-max a little bit too hard, it leads to the game itself just not being a fun experience. Like, people don't enjoy it, people don't like it, but it's not fun because you're just trying too hard. Or as well, maybe there's a lot of bugs and issues, and people have been complaining about the most recent bugs, myself included. If I try to launch the ship, sometimes I've had a little bit of issues and, like, you know, just general, you know, general bugs. You know, I get it. Basically the game. But it's kind of nice to see that Sony's kind of more hands-off. They're like, hey, you've done well, you're succeeding well, it seems like you guys know what you're doing. If you need support, we'll be here. If it falters, we'll try to take over. Kind of how they've been doing with Destiny 2 and Bungie. But at the same time, it's nice to go and see. And they just want, even their ideas, and this is what makes a good game, is they just want to make sure their game is the best game they want to can make. Like, that's all they want to have at the end of the day. Also, some pretty big news too as well, where Kingdoms Come Deliverance 2 has been announced. Will be twice as big as the original, and I've heard a lot of really people in the RPG scene enjoying Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 as well. So it's nice to go and see is that they, like, basically, hey, like, our first game made a lot of money, let's go make it bigger and better. Was it a really fun Stardew Valley 2 as well? Had some huge updates. I want to stream some Stardew Valley in the near future. I just think it'd be fun. I think I'm kind of down with it. I think I want to do it at some point. So in the near future, we may go do that up on Twitch. But I always love how much just random love they go and put over here in the game itself. Small updates, making sure it's always being still taken care of. And I can't wait for the upcoming game too as well. And last but not least, if you guys care, where there is the big Bitcoin run up over here too, where the Bitcoin's been doing relatively well. So we'll have to see where the halving goes when it comes to crypto. So give me your thoughts and comments on everything down below. We have the Twitter and Twitch if you just want to follow. And hopefully you guys didn't really love LittleBigPlanet because it's now, well, gone. Bye, guys.